You're on vacation at the beach, you see a beautiful sunset, you take a bunch of pictures, and you wish that you could go back and paint it, but you're not sure how. This painting is a scene from Hawaii, and I'm going to show you exactly how to paint it step by step. All right, so I'm starting this painting with a very vibrant background color. It's my red just on there straight. You can see a little bit of white coming through, but there's a vibrant start to the painting because I want to have that color show through in the end. And you can see how I'm doing this as I'm painting those rocks. I'm leaving a tiny gap between where the rock shapes would meet. And this is something that I've seen done before. Before I ever tried it, I observed it in an artist that I loved, and then I started doing it, but I mostly do it when I paint on a black canvas because it gives it kind of this graphic look. So this is actually going and using a different color, and it's still kind of a graphic look, but it is almost in reverse because instead of black showing through, you have this very colorful color right there. And what's difficult about this style in the painting process is that it can throw off your vision. When you see all that color coming back at you, sometimes it's difficult to tell what the colors are that you're putting down. So you have to just trust your instincts a bit. But I've gotten some gray mixtures that are just slightly lighter than the ultra dark of the rocks, and I'm putting them in the rocks that are further back. That is a technique that you can use anytime that you want to show a little bit of distance. You just need to remember that things that are further away from you because of atmospheric perspective, they don't have the darks. They generally will get a little bit lighter, and the reds and the yellows will disappear the further away the landmass is or the object is. That's why when you look at mountains in a far distance, they're blue. They're not green. They're not, the rocks aren't brown. You know, the reds and the yellows go away, but you still see the blue. Now I'm coming back in here with a first coat on this water. And if you look at the reference photo, which you can see in the top left corner there, you can notice that it's a beautiful sunset here, and the water is slightly darker than what the sky is. And that's something that often happens in a reflection, is that you get a little bit darker reflection than what is up above it in the sky. Whether it's always true in reality or not, it is a technique that can be helpful in the designing of a painting. I find that my lightest lights and my brightest highlights, I would like it usually to be in the sky rather than the reflection of the sky. It's something that it's not a rule that you have to follow all the time, but generally I find that it works better for my compositions, and you might find the same thing. As that water gets back, it reflects less of the sky color, and there's more blues and even some violets in there. So because the color of the canvas is so red, it's going to, again, make everything look a little bit different. But there's this reflected light from the sky that I don't necessarily see it as strong in the reference photo, but sometimes what you need to know is that reference photos don't show you everything that your eye could see if you were there standing in person. So you need to remember that your eyes are more perceptive than a camera. And so I know that I want to put in this reflected light down there, and so I do with a mixture of grays and some of the color of the sky. But I'm going to start with the sky now. And I have this vibrant orange color, and I want to do a slight outline in the places where I think it should have a little bit of a glow. That's one of the tricks that I will use to kind of help describe a vibrant area of a painting. you kind of have to set up where you want the light to be, but you do it sometimes in stages. You don't always just go immediately to the lightest value. Sometimes you want to set the stage for it by building, maybe you could think of it as a little resting place for the light. But see, now as I'm coming in with a brighter light, you can see that it has some ambiance to it. There's an atmosphere there where it looks like the light is actually radiating out from there onto the clouds, just like it does in the actual picture. But sometimes we want to go and immediately put the light in, and I find that it's often better to create the atmosphere and then build the light. Now I've added some more blue into this sky color because there is a coolness to the sky in the picture. There's some blues in there. It's very light. The value doesn't get very dark. So you want to pay attention if you're doing this to keep that value of the sky really light. Whether it's got a little bit more of a blue tone or more of the yellow tone, the value is still your lightest value. I'm coming back because every time I paint over something that's kind of mid-tone or dark, like this red, I usually find that I need to apply more than one coat of the lightest highlights. And so I'm still working with the idea of maintaining a little bit of that red, but up in the sky, because the clouds are, they're a little bit different. They don't have the sharp edges and the distinct areas. I'm mixing it together a little bit more. You don't see as many of the lines of the red from the background showing through up in the sky just because of the nature of the clouds. I'll be working back and forth just to get a little bit more nuanced colors and, create this vibrant sky, because it's a little bit of a process sometimes pushing things back and forth. But one thing that I notice that I know I need to do, I'm about to put on some color for the reflection, and I'm aware that my palette is actually pretty dirty. There's a lot of mixes on there. So I clean it very thoroughly here. That's something that you need to do if you're painting on a palette like I have. It's a Masterson palette and it stays wet. The moisture of the sponge that's underneath the special paper will keep the paper wet, and it will actually help your paint stay mixable and usable for a long time, but it can get dirty and you need to clean it. So now I've got a nice clean palette and I'm mixing a nice clean mixture of yellows and oranges, and that's where I'm getting more of a vibrant, nice clean color. It's important to do, or you will have muted colors everywhere. Now I love being able to mix nuanced colors, but there are times, especially toward the end of a painting, when I want those colors to be nice and clean and crisp. So that's what we've done here. We've got more of an atmosphere now down in the bottom. You can see the gradation. It's going up into the sky. Even the reflection is pointing up a little bit toward the upper part of the painting. It's still really crisp, it's clean, but the sky is still the highlight of the show. They work together well, but one needs to be brighter than the other. And I decided in this picture that I wanted the sky to be the brightest. Now what's interesting is in this sky, I've got a little bit of violet in that color there. And so while it's very light, it actually has a tiny bit of the complement color to the yellow. And so this is adding a little bit of extra push and pull and vibrancy to this sky and to this scene overall. So anyway, guys, this is part of the Paint Across America series, and here's a good look at it. I hope you enjoyed being here.